Alright, here we go, guys. Into our next matchup here. So we got Valk, who was very aggressive on his Thor earlier, going up against a Hammer Thor, a Super Soldier, and a Sorcerer Supreme. UCCB goes in, puts down the SP2, but there's a big return SP2 from Notorious. Gets a good amount of chunk down on to, I believe it's Bright. Yeah, Bright here in the back line, who is now on Orb. He's down about half health. He's taking a huge amount of chunk damage from Notorious every time he moves up to SP2. Here's Splice doing what he can on his Hammer Thor. Oh, there's the damage down onto three. Sorry, I always say that wrong. 3 in the back line. Here's Bright knocking down underneath the Bodok. Is he going to be able to get away? He is not. What an SP3, and Splice tries to do what he can, but he ends up getting recaptured on. There's a lot of miscommunication going on there with team number 7. One of them went in while the other one was out. And he has a little bit of poke coming in. Splice tries to do what he can, gets back down onto Bright. He gets a good amount of damage onto him, gets him down to halfway. Let's see what the return damage was from UTCB. He gets away with his SP3 on the return. Bright's going down to about a quarter health, maybe about a third. Valk's going to do what he can. Bright tries to get the health. He's able to heal back up with those 9 stacks. All he has to do is sustain at this point. Now he has SP3. Who is he going to lock down? UCCB. U2CB is very low. Here comes Splice trying to get in back onto Bright, but he backs up. U2CB is over on the health board doing what he can. Are they going to lock down Notorious with his SP3? No, can't quite get into range. SP1 is able to heal him. He tried to, but he couldn't catch up to him. Splice comes around the backside. U2CB is very low at the moment. Both teams are just trying to do it again. Valk goes in, gets a huge amount of chunk down. SP3 in now. They're going to try to do what they can, but the SP3 coming back from 3 is able to heal him as Splice gets into onto Bright, but he has those 89-point ticks. They're trying to return as much damage as they can onto Splice. Both teams try to reset. Splice goes in onto Bright again. He's getting chunked down, goes up in the SP3 in the back line. U2CB goes down. Here comes the capture from team number 7. Bright's going to try to heal as much as he can. Notorious puts down as much damage as he can. He gets down to half health, though. That's going to be hard to fight the next capture being that low. U2CB tries to go up just a little bit of damage. Here comes Splice putting in his SP2, pops his SP1, now he's going to try to go in and get as much damage as he can. He's resisting a lot of those crits, but he's still taking a ton of damage. Valk is going to follow in. 3 puts down his SP3 in order to heal them. Notorious is doing what he can. He's going to take this SP3. No, he's healing when he can. Gets a crit, but he's still in place. Here come the SP3s into play now, though. Let's see where they go this time. Splice goes up. He's always zoning out Bright with that SP3. It leaves it into a 2v3 situation, and Bright has to come back, heal up his teammates. There goes Splice in again, but those SP3s aren't quite there. They're guarding the health orbs over on the right side now. Valk goes in. There's the SP3 down, and there he goes, the execute. Once they line everything up, it's hard to resist it. But Valk is very low in the return, but the heals from Bright are there. There comes the SP2 from the Super Soldier trying to do what they can. They're trying to stall out for their teammate to come back, and they're not quite going to be able to do it. They get the health orbs, and they're healing up. 3's doing what he can, but Valk is there in his face. And the Splice ends up staying alive with the SP3 at the last second. And there's the capture. Are they going to be able to finish the point with? There it is. They get the capture. All right, here we go into our second matchup of this set of games. All right, we got a map change here too. Let's see how that plays into it. We see Valk switch over to Storm instead of the Thor. And we're sticking with the Orb. So Splice comes in, tries to do as much damage as he can, but this time they're able to disengage while U2CB is in the back line doing what he can, but he goes down to halfway. I'm not sure that trade was worth it. He's trying to do what he can to protect those orbs, and he does with his heavy up. Here comes Notorious on the backside, though. They're all able to dodge out of the SP2. They got a good amount of return damage, but Splice is right there to do his own damage. You see, U2CB needs an easier name to say as he sustains back up. Here comes Splice over to the health orbs, trying to do what they can, but Splice goes down to about a fraction of the health. and they're able to take down U2CV. Oh, he's gonna SB3 Splice, but oh, that Splice goes down to the curse while he's in his SB3. There they go. They lock him down in the middle, but the heavy, unfortunately, from Storm hits 3 in the back line. Notorious is down about halfway. He gets a curse on him. Valk is going to do what he can, but he's able to heal back up with the health orbs over on the right side. Now on the left side, Bright does what he can on Sorcerer Supreme. He's going to grab this health orb at the last second. I think he was trying to save it for Valk, and he can't quite. Notorious gets caught out away from the circle. Does what he can. Here come the teammates respawning. Splice is back. Goes right in on Blight. He's going to be able to burn through most of his shields. UTCB does not take down the Super Soldier in the back line. In fact, it gets returned back. And Valk is very low, puts up his SB3, and is able to heal back up as he goes in, but he can't quite do enough damage as he goes down. Notorious is able to back out. The curse is not going to be enough. There's still no capture, though. This is very swipe. We got 2 tanks that are low. We got Bright sustaining. We got UCCB doing what he can. Can't take down Splice in the meantime. Goes up in the SB3. Takes down U2CB. And there's the capture. That one was all over the place. I thought for sure Notorious was going to go down when U2CB came back, but he was able to get back to his Bodog, sustain back up, get in the small circle, bounce those shields around. What a play. Here comes Splice. He's going to bounce away with his SB2, put down his SB1, and there's the engage with Notorious' SB3. Can't quite put down enough damage as Bright comes back in with the sustain. He tried to put down the SB2 there, but didn't quite get in range, didn't cast. Here we go, Notorious is coming in, puts down the SB2, but gets SB3'd in the meantime, but he's able to get away with half his health as Splice comes in, does what he can. He's going to SB3 to get away. He was going to go up and do a little bit of damage, doesn't come back with any, as U2CB is alone in the backline again. He's been doing that a lot this game, but he runs those tanky builds. Here comes Splice. He's going to bounce away with his SB2, put down his SB1. Alright, here we go. UCCB engages in on Splice. Notorious tries to do what he can from the back line, but they get the sustain from 3. UCCB goes in with the SB1, followed after the SB2, but can't quite do enough. Notorious is trying to get those health orbs, but he ends up taking a shield. We have Super Soldier going against Super Soldier over here on the side. We have the curse coming in from Bright. Let's see if it's enough to put the edge in his advantage, and it's not. Meanwhile, Valk on Storm is going 1v1 with Splice, trying to sustain. Bright's doing as much poke as he can in the meantime. Red team is very low. UCCB is just as well, but he's going to get these health orbs here and sustain back up with Bright's heal. Here comes a huge SB3 from Splice, and the SB1s to get tanky and get away. SB3 comes up from Bright. Is he going to get it down to Notorious? He does. Are they going to be able to take him down? Here comes the SB3 from Storm, but the SB3 from 3 is there. He just barely keeps him alive as Bright has to back up as Splice engages on him. They end up taking down Notorious in the backline eventually, but Splice is going to return the kill onto Valk on his Storm, but UCCB ends up getting in on Splice in the return. Now it's just 3 up against Bright and UCCB. Let's see, there's the curse. They push him out of the circle. He's trying to go around, doesn't quite get there. There's the capture. SB3 from Splice and the SB1 to get tanky and get away. SB3 comes up from Bright. Is he going to get it down to Notorious? Rotating back, 1 capture to 1 capture. I think the key is who gets locked down by the SB3 and whether or not they can get away with the kill. If they do, then Bright's team is going to win this one. There's the SB3 on the Splice. If they can take him down, that's huge. But he ends up getting up into SB3, and they take down Bright in return. 10 stacks in all. They burn right through him. Let's see if they can keep this up. Splice almost goes down in the return, but U2CB is still very low. Valk's going to try to come in and return some kills with his SB3. If they can stun him and keep him away from Splice, they're in a good place here. Are they going to take this game? There it is. Bodog is captured. Are they going to be able to take it down in time? Bright's trying to get in there, and he's going to try to heal and shield as much as he can. 10, 4, 3, 0. There is the game. Alright, here we go. Get another map change here. UCCB switched over from his Super Soldier over to Iron Legionnaire. Valk went over to his Super Soldier. Notorious goes in, gets a huge chunk down on to Bright. The chunk damage coming down from Notorious and Splice onto Bright is very good this game. I apologize for that jittering. That is not on my end. I don't believe. I believe that might be from the stream that I am seeing. UCCB goes down to Splice. There's that damage I was talking about. As a... Alright, here we go. We're gonna do the map change here. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out what that stuttering is. I don't believe it's me, but it might be. Super Soldier over the Iron here. Alright, it's 1-1, guys. That's what I thought. Here we go. Alright, so reset in the circle. Splice ended up getting into the back line onto U2CB. Again, there he goes. U2CB getting a huge chunk down on his Iron Legionnaire. Now he's down to half health. Splice is over here fighting Valk. He gets down to half health. Valk puts down a huge amount of damage with that SP2, but there's not enough follow-up to take him down. Notorious is over on the left side. Ends up blocking that stun. He's going to be able to take those health orbs and get away. Valk does what he can. U2CB all by himself getting taken down by Splice again. Seems like he's been out of position on that Iron Legionnaire this entire game. There's Valk doing as much as he can with his SP3 up. Bright comes in, puts down the crit, but he's not going to be able to do enough damage in the background. Is he going to be able to SP3 someone in place and not be able to save his Bodok here? Let's see. They are not. So now that is 2-1. Alright, and we are back onto the raft, which makes it very hard for these super soldiers to engage. Let's see how this goes. Bright moving up early, trying to get a little bit of poke in onto the back line. Here comes the SB2 from 3, but it's not quite enough. UCCB tries to get a little poke around the wall, which is a little cheeky to do. You can do it, but it's a little tough. Splice is trying to go in. Let's see if he can get cornered back with Notorious, but they decide... I'm sorry, with Valk, but they decide to go over onto Notorious, but they take the SB2 in return, but the SB2 is returned back. They get a little bit of poke, but I believe Red Team won the poke battle there as Splice comes around the other side, engaged on U2CB, but he ends up taking a good amount of poke that time as Valk comes in around the other side with his heavy. Teams reset over on the health orbs on either side. The SB3 is up on Sorcerer now. Let's see how this is going to go. Splice tries to come in as the heavy goes down. There's the SB3. Are they going to be able to get enough damage with Valk? Here comes the Execute. It's enough. They take him down and they're going to be able to return now. There goes 3 on Sorcerer Supreme. I think we have a game here, guys. Notorious is trying to do what he can, but Valk on his Axe Thor is just putting down a ton of damage as soon as that SB3 from Bright came in. You got U2CB a little bit low, but Bright's going to heal him back up now. 82 on his health ticks at the moment. Notorious tries to put down an SB2, but it goes into the wall as UTCB gets spliced as he's trying to do with those flanks that he loves to do. Here comes a SB2. Doesn't quite get on to Valk as he engages. He doesn't get up there, though, so he has to back up. Now we have the SB3 from Sorcerer Supreme again. Notorious puts it down onto the Super Soldier. Splice is going to go up when he comes down. Is he going to get SB3'd? He ends up getting away. They tried to get the curse down onto him. They do. Valk is a little bit further away from his team as U2CB is trying to get his health. He puts down his SB3 trying to execute Splice. It doesn't quite get there. 3 puts down his SB3 in order to sustain. And teams reset again. Trying to poke again. Here comes the SB2 from 3. Trying to get the weakness down onto as many people as they can. Super Soldiers trade shields as they go down to the health orb. Splice continues his assault. There comes the heavy from Sorcerer Supreme. There's a huge SB2 from Notorious. UTCB props his SB3 in order to re-engage, but they can't quite do it as Valk goes over to get the health orb. Splice is down kind of low, but Bright ends up getting pushed away as Splice goes up into SB3. I think he's going to be able to get a huge amount of damage onto U2CB. Still holding on to that SB3 of the Sorcerer with both his tanks very low. Are they going to be able to do anything? Notorious dodges away from that SB2 from U2CB. Splice goes in with his heavy. Not quite enough to get the Sorcerer Supreme. There's the SB2. It's able to take down U2CB as the SB3 comes out for Sorcerer Supreme. But Valk is doing what he can, but he goes down in the meantime. Bright's going to try to protect his stacks. Is he going to be able to? He is not. They're on to the Bodok. Here we go, moving into the next matchup. U2CB moves up, tries to do what he can. In the return, doesn't quite get that much damage down as 3 heals back up. Notorious is a little bit low, puts down his SB2, can't quite get in. Here comes Valk, jumping across the screen with his heavy. They caught out Splice, but they get enough damage down onto him as he goes up to his SB3. His SB3s are huge. Here they come. He goes back towards the health orb instead. A little bit of poke coming in from the Sorcerer Supreme in the back line. U2CB is trying to protect these health orbs. There's two super soldiers looking at each other. Oh, there was a perfect time to SB3, I believe, from Sorcerer Supreme, but he didn't quite pull it off. Valk had his SB3 too. I think if they lock down Splice there, they finish him off. Oh, but they actually no, because they would have got stunned by the super soldier. Never mind. All right, here we go. Resetting over on the health orbs. U2CB is getting caught out by Splice. This time they catch Splice, but they're outside the circle. Are they going to lose the capture because of it? Oh, they get the engage, but they're outside the circle, so they have to back up. And they can't finish him off. Now they're trying to rotate over and get the health orbs. Splice goes up into his SB3, comes down, takes down Valk. UCCB is very low. Bright's very low. There's the SB2 from the Super Soldier. Notorious is pushing onto the Bodok. Is it going to be enough? There it is. Team 7 advances. That was a game.